And it is with great... Why's that music playing in my ear? It's just with great honour and privilege and pleasure to announce that a man that was here at the start... What is that about, Chief? Just blow my eardrums out. Was here at the start of the year, disappeared. I don't know where he went.
6 weeks.
And now he's come back. And I speak of my dear friend Luke Darcy.
And it is great to be here, Gaz. And
you sure?
You know, it is great. I missed the whole team, and you realise just what joy it brings to come back amongst this group of people.
Tell us where, whilst Chief and actually Warrior, I include Warrior in this reluctantly. Chief, Warrior, and I haven't had a day off for 3 years. Tell us where you've been.
Had some work commitments in Brazil, Gaz, over there, just broadcasting live from the World Cup, which was.
So
busy.
Had
to get my head around that, and then
you
was back on the ground for a day or two. And as a man who coped very well with breakfast radio, Gaz, you'd never seen a bloke more grumpy, even grumpy. Didn't like people.
That's true.
For the 12 months you did it, you just need a little bit of a refreshing up. So I had a bit of time with the family in Bali, which was fantastic. And you know
Bali,
what I love?
Right, Brazil, Bali.
Came back, and you lob into town, Chief, and you feel good. You've been in the salt water
about you, Jake.
a little bit, gone from white to off-white, about where it's at for me. And then you lob in town, and it's round 17. It's cold. The footy isn't necessarily great, and everyone turns on each other, Damo. And there's wars going on. Ed's got 18 fronts he's fighting on with people. Some of them I don't even know. He's at war with everyone, and then
you got to drive by.
Well, it broke my heart, Damo, because it's a bit like fighting with the older brother when Gaz has a go.
That's true. He's your mentor, isn't he?
He has been. Absolutely over the journey, and came back and we did a very nice talking footy, Chief. And then I sat down in bed
produced
alongside Beck, my beautiful wife, and
don't tell me Beck got upset with me, because then I will get upset.
She didn't actually. She turned on me. I have to be honest. And then the Wolf takes a broadside at me on a Monday night. So that was upsetting, Chief.
Was it deserved?
No, it wasn't. It was ill-informed. And we've sorted it out. I don't want to go back over it.
Here we go.
In fact, I don't want to talk about it.
Sorted it out.
So would an apology fix things?
I think, when you get one from Gary every now and then, it's a bit like it when Fonzie apologises. It's a little half one.
Now that he's described me as ill-informed, I'm going to have to crank it up again. I'm going to have to just dredge it all up again.
And a Fonzie-style apology?
Is an apology owed?
I never apologised. Never once.
We came in and we sorted it out, Gary, on the hot breakfast on Thursday.
Did you run with something, Gaz, that perhaps wasn't quite right?
No. Absolutely not, Chief. 100%.
Well, how was he ill-informed?
We better get to the bottom of this.
This is where we will. Now we're going to crank this right back up now, because one thing that he has always said to me is, if you are in doubt and you're about to have a go at something, pick up the phone and ring. Now, as far as I know, Gary always has my number, and that hasn't gone in the 2 weeks I was away. So I would have thought before he might have rung, and then I could have given him the full picture.
That's true, but I looked up on the television on one of the digital channels, and I saw your face there.
What are you talking about?
Well, how can I ring you when you're on one of the digital channels?
That would be talking footy on 7, mate. No, you go down. How about this? This is a man when the footy show doesn't get credited, he wants a royal commission. You need to start living your own value system.
We just must also point out that whilst, and I do rate my fine colleague here is a very good friend, but my brother actually produces that show.
And you know what was great? I did speak to your brother Rick. He said, get hold of him and go as hard as you possibly can. But
this was all for people who haven't caught up with this. Is all you being on air when Brian Taylor said what he said last week, and you got a drive-by by Gary,
who said that. And look, and I can understand where in some ways. But I think
put it this way, this would be the question I'd ask. If you're on air tomorrow night and Brian says that word again, what would you say as the host?
Look, if I was sitting next to him and it was clear that was exactly, you would hope you would, in that situation, say, hey, absolutely out of line.
That was my only point.
But the point I tried to tell you was that the extenuating circumstances of that were off the chart, and I think the degree of difficulty to understand that from someone up in the host position of the broadcast to us broadcasting at the front of the Sydney Swans cheer squad with a PA going, with an MC blaring in our ears, and the nature of the way that went down, and I did say this to you, most of the panel actually didn't hear that word come out at the time.
I can see that is an issue that you would need to take up strenuously with your employee.
And we had done it. In fact, before we'd even started, we said this is an out-of-control situation. Dan Hanbury was our guest on the panel, and we couldn't hear him literally 2 seats down. We did a live cross to Adelaide, which was a disaster. So it was one of those nights. But the SCG, unfortunately, when you've got a panel of 5, there isn't space to broadcast apart from setting up a desk on the ground. So
that's an issue for Seven to sort out. We as the viewer need to assume that you can actually hear each other.
you as a friend, Chief, before you take a
We do
broadside,
need to overshoot
you would
that.
think that he would maybe ring before he's about to clip you. Would you think, Chief, that would
Quite
be fair?
possibly, but
Super.
it wasn't one of those where you went to ring and you got all those international.
That's it,
Yeah.
Chief. Now I know
Well,
where he
how
is.
can I get hold of him if he's overseas? I
What
don't even know
about
what
Chief
time
too?
zone he's in.
Anyway,
So-
it's well,
So you okay now, you two?
I've never been better.
Yeah,
Never
I'm
had
not
an
sure
issue.
they are, Chief. What do you reckon?
I'll
Well,
tell
there's
you, I
even a
won't.
discussion about the footwear in the
Yeah.
that Gary had to
One's
take
better than the other.
the upper ground on.
Well, that's a fact.
Both wearing what appeared to be
No, I
desert
took,
All right, let
boots.
me try
according
and wrap
to
this
Reddit.
up.
I took
Does
exception-
anyone owe anyone an apology out of you
No.
two?
not me.
Well, I certainly don't.
I certainly
I know
certainly
that.
don't.
But you wanted one,
No,
didn't you, Duke?
Duke doesn't have to apologise at all. He just
No, he wants an apology.
Oh, well, he ain't me getting that.
Have you ever heard the wolf utter the word? Have you ever heard him say
Hey, 100% I would, hand on my heart. But that is, hey, why can I apologise for having an opinion on what should and shouldn't be said?
Maybe the apology could be that in the future I'd like to ring you before I give you a
well,
clip.
but you're on air, Duke. I looked up on the
And I would
digital
have
channel,
stopped.
and there you were.
I would have stopped the show and
Gary's
said,
wrong.
"My
You know,
man is
you know
ringing
who
me."
needs an apology? I'll tell you who should be apologising. Channel 7 should apologise to you for putting you in a situation on a television broadcast that potentially could have you have to front up to some of these issues.
Well, hindsight's 20.
When do you expect to get that apology, Duke?
That one won't be coming, Chief. I wouldn't have thought. All right, but one full stop on that.
I will make another blue
Yeah.
at some stage, and if I do, Chief, pull me up, please.
I'll back out.
You'll back me?
I'll back
Will
out.
you? Pull
Will
me
you?
up.
We support each other.
That's it. The back row are tight up here, worried.